Out of all of the birds in the world, some of the most majestic are swans. While incredibly beautiful, sometimes these birds can pose identification problems. Tundra swans and trumpeter swans are both large, white birds that can be difficult to tell apart from a distance. Fortunately, there are some surefire ways to make a positive identification. First, let's take a look at range. Tundra swans winter in select areas of the United States, and their range spreads during migration in the spring and fall. Trumpeter swans may be seen in different parts of the U.S. as breeding residents, winter visitors, permanent residents, or during migration. These species do sometimes flock together, which can give you a good comparison of the differences between the two. Overall, trumpeter swans are larger than tundra swans, which will be more evident if both species are side by side, but can be hard to judge if only one species is present. Due to their large size, trumpeter swans will appear to move more slowly and thoughtfully, compared to tundra swans, which can walk on land with more agility. In flight, trumpeter swans will also appear to have a heavier neck that is slightly drooped closer to the body, as well as slightly slower wing beats and more rounded wings. Tundra swans will have a thinner neck that appears to be straighter with slightly faster wing beats and not as rounded of wings. Overall, at a distance, these differences may not be too noticeable. If you do hear them vocalizing, this can help make a definitive ID. Trumpeter swans make shorter honking noises that may be given singly or in a series. Tundra swans make higher-pitched rattling or bugle-like calls, which also might include higher whistles. The head shape of the trumpeter swan will also appear more bulky and almost bell-shaped, with a longer, straighter bill, compared to the more rounded head of the tundra swan, which has a shorter bill that appears more scoop-shaped. Additionally, both species may show a yellow spot on their bill. Therefore, this is not a good ID feature to use in your identification, although this is far more common in tundra swans compared to trumpeter swans. One of the most useful features to look at, if you can see it close enough, is the bill shape in relation to the forehead. In trumpeter swans, the forehead feathers will form a V shape where it meets the bill, whereas in tundra swans, it will be more of a U shape. The eye of the trumpeter swan will also appear more connected with the bill, as opposed to appearing more distinct from the bill in tundra swans. It's also important to note that the heads and necks of both species can get what's called rust stains, which is a brown appearance caused from feeding in tannin-stained water that is high in iron. It does not negatively affect the swans. Now let's move on to the identification of younger birds. Juvenile tundra and trumpeter swans may also appear similar, with gray-brown coloration and a variable pink and black bill. In juvenile trumpeter swans, the lores, or the area between the eye and the bill, will be black, while in tundra swans, there will be less black, with a longer stretch of pink or patchy white in the middle of the bill. The bills of juveniles may also appear larger than those of adults, so bill size should not be used to judge juvenile birds to species level. Juvenile plumage in trumpeter swans will normally also be paler than the brown-gray plumage in tundra swans, with more color variation on an individual bird appearing in trumpeter swans. Additionally, juvenile tundra swans will begin to molt sooner than trumpeter swans, with more tundra swans having some white patches on their juvenile plumage in December and January, while more trumpeter swans will still be in full juvenile plumage. If you're looking at an individual bird in the United States, and it's still not quite looking like either species, make sure to consider mute swan, which is also common, or hooper swan, which sometimes show up as rare visitors, but can also be escaped from private collections. All in all, it helps to take photos of hard-to-ID swans in the field in order to look at all the identification features later, and to also consult other birders if you're still unsure. Be sure to consider all of the features when making an ID, and let us know in the comments below what species of swan you've seen in the field. Thanks for watching, and we hope you've enjoyed this episode of ID Tips.